Many shades of pink and black health. Many shades of pink and black health, where good health equals long life.
Welcome to the Many Shades of Pink and Black Health radio program on KBLKradio.com, sponsored by Many Shades of Pink. I'm actually Wendy Sherrill, breast cancer survivor and advocate.
And I'm the co-host, Dr. Susanna Afflalo, a retired family physician. And today our guest is my brother, Michael Afflalo, mental health and substance abuse counselor. And today's topic is going to be on black men's health. So Michael, welcome.
Welcome.
Hi, well, thank you very much for having me here. I'm excited about this opportunity to talk about an important subject of men's health.
Oh, well, we're glad to have you here. And I guess we'll just go ahead and dive on in.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself and your family, which of course hopefully includes me.
Yeah. Okay, I'm 64 years old, and I'm the middle of 5 children. My older sister and older brother happens to have passed on. Me, then my younger sister Suzanne, and my youngest brother Danny. So it's 5 of us, and it was 5 of us.
Hold on, I thought you were. So you're the youngest?
No, she's second.
There's one young. I know you think I'm the oldest, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
bossy.
No, she's.
I thought she was older than you.
She always acts older than me.
Oh,
She's mature.
Oh, okay,
She's
she-
amazing.
okay.
No, you know what? I'm the matriarch of the family.
so
that's
why.
why.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
We defer to her.
Okay, because I was just wondering, I'm like, hold on, I thought you were.
Well,
All
thank
right.
you for saying that.
Or maybe I look older. I don't know.
No, you just act like you know, I know you a boss lady.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm 64, and about 20 some years ago, I got really interested in longevity, trying to live longer, and I found out that in order to have longevity, you got to do your part in terms of nutrition and exercise and all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, let me back you up for a little bit.
Mhm.
I know you told us about your siblings. Do you have any children?
Oh yes, I had 2 children, a daughter Alessandra and my son Adam. My daughter got killed in a car accident 1999. And my son, I think he was a guest on here yourself.
Oh, yes.
My son Adam, I am so proud of the man he's become, and I can't take any credit for it. My sister did it. So,
Oh, well, wow. I have to say that you have a amazing, outstanding son. I actually love Adam.
thank you.
And I do too.
Yeah, and you did an amazing job.
Yes, she did.
Well, actually, the foundation was laid by my mother, who raised him for the first. Well, he was moved down to Jamaica at 9 months, and so for that first, then the additional 8 years after that, Mommy actually took care of him, and then when we moved them all up together, then I took on from the age of 9. You know,
Oh, yeah.
So she laid the foundation.
Well, you have an awesome son.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
we're fathering together,
Yeah, yeah.
mother and fathering together.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's
Well,
good,
that's good because you don't usually. I mean, you know, you have family, that type of family dynamics, but not really where the sister step in. It's always usually like the grandma or
It's a
somebody
blessing.
else. Yeah,
It's a blessing.
that's a blessing.
There is some drawbacks because I get it from both sides on my health. My sister and my son are always quizzing me
Well, that's
about
good.
my health.
That's a blessing. You got
So,
two. You have two. You got
Oh,
two
yeah.
angels,
Yes.
earth angels that's on your back, okay, and making sure that you are making your health priority.
Yes, they are. Yes, they're very aggressively. So it's a good thing, though, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, do you have any hobbies or interests that you really enjoy that brings you joy to your life?
Yes, I do. I like to ride my bicycle. I live around by the stadium, Petco Park, and there's a lot of good trails along there, so I have a bicycle. I also like to go up to the main library, and I do a lot of research there, but I also walk up and down those 9 floors.
Yeah.
So it's good
So
exercise.
is
Yeah.
that, where is that at? That the actual are you talking about the new main library?
Yeah, on Park.
On Park.
and-
Okay,
and-
I hear that is a really nice.
Oh, it's just
library.
fabulous.
I mean, I just basically didn't go by it. That's it. I haven't actually got out and formally, like went in.
Right. So next week, Thursday, when we talk about the event for next week, Thursday, you and I will be there for the first time in the library. That's where the event is going to be.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your educational background.
Okay, well, I'm a 1 class away from my master's degree from
Wow.
USC. Yes, I just have to get that last class.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I do have my BA degree in behavioral science, and I've graduated from City College twice.
How
They won't let me
right.
come back. So yeah, I just like school.
So they won't let you come back?
No, I've been taking
Oh.
too many classes.
At this point, he's had every certificate they
Yeah,
give it.
they're
And the
right.
second thing is that there's no more classes for him to take. He probably needs to start teaching them now.
Probably so, yeah. But that's awesome that, you are really into your education.
Yes.
I mean, you can never have enough, and, knowledge is power.
Yes, ma'am.
Exactly. So what made you decide to go into counseling?
Well, I kind of grandfathered myself into it because, fortunately, in my past, I dabbled a little into alcohol and drugs, and I'm glad this show's not about that. But so I got introduced to drugs, and I went through rehabs, and somewhere along the journey, I said, you know what? I can be more helpful to people being an example of someone in recovery. And I had a heart for helping other people because there was a lot of hands, starting with my family, was hands out helping me when I was under the influence of alcohol and drugs. So I got a heart for it, and it's been a motivation for me ever since.
Well, I think that's awesome that you're giving back. No matter what you go through in life, you're making something that was a negative into a positive,
correct.
by helping others. Keeper, and if you know something, then you need to tell your family members, tell your friends, something that can help them. And I say the same thing, but we as African American women, we just start sitting at the table discussing this and openly discussing it, and discussing such health issues as cancer and things of that nature. That was taboo for us to discuss within the family. No one wanted anybody to know. I mean, in fact, I just got a call from one of my associates in another county, wanted me to speak with a young lady, but she don't want nobody to know that she's going through breast cancer. And it's like, when do we stop allowing a disease to actually dictate our life, and making it like it's taboo and it's hush hush?
Yeah, and why would she? That's nothing to be ashamed of.
It's not.
So it's not like you bring something like that on yourself. So I'm not sure why she would even be reluctant to want to share that. Maybe she doesn't want anyone to feel sorry for her or anything like that. But the point is at that time you need help.
Yes.
You need people to reach out to. You don't need to deal with that type of a condition on your own. That loneliness, that depression associated with cancer and stuff is not a time in your life where you want to be by yourself. So it's really unfortunate that this young lady and several other people in society are reluctant to speak about their conditions only because of either embarrassment or something like that, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
because you don't bring these things, you don't bring certain things on yourself. There's other things that with choices, social habits and things that you may bring some conditions on to yourself. But breast cancer and something like that is not something that people should be embarrassed or ashamed of.
No, and I think that our whole community need to be responsive and have needing to do better, not just by for themselves, but for their family, for their friends. I'm not asking them to help a community, but what I am asking is them to be willing to have conversations with their family and friends.
All right. So with that Men's Health and Wellness Summit, it seems like it was well received, and I made sure to orchestrate in such a way that there were no women in the room, so that you could, I arranged a platform for them to actually have a safe environment so they could open up, because I already know that men don't want to discuss issues in general to anyone, but even more so not in front of a room with women in it. So just like the women's event that we had, we're having a little technical difficulty here.
Yes,
but
we have.
can't be turned off. Somebody's phone is ringing. But anyway, so what's going on is basically that, oh, you know what? Rather than just start that question off, it's actually time for a break. So I think I'll save my question until after the break, and then that gives us a chance for whoever it was that had their phone ringing to answer their phone. So I think what we'll do is, at this point, we'll take a moment to take our break. So you've been listening to the Many Shades of Pink and Black Health radio program on kblkradio.com, and we'll be right back in a few minutes after this break.
I'm a breast cancer survivor.
We are honoring our heroes.
I'm here today because of Susan G. Coleman's free mammogram.
We are pledging to save lives.
We're passionate about bringing the services out to the community.
We are providing free mammograms. We are providing hope.
Welcome back to the Many Shades of Pink and Black Health radio program on kblkradio.com, sponsored by Many Shades of Pink. I'm your host, Wendy Sherrill, breast cancer advocate and survivor.
And I'm your co-host, Dr. Suzanne Afflalo, a retired physician. And once again, we have my brother, Michael Afflalo, here with us as a guest, as mental health and substance abuse counselor. And we are speaking about Men's Health Month, which is June.
Which is June, yeah.
So we'll pick back up where we left off. I was asking the question about the actual Men's Health and Wellness Summit that we had on June 10th. And, you know, I deliberately made the event a men's only event because I really wanted to create a safe space for the men to discuss everything that was of concern or sensitive issues without any women in the room. How do you think that was perceived, and do you think that was the best way to formulate the forum?
Well, I've noticed that most of the men there, they were much more relaxed when it was only men in the room. Because we've been brought up as black men to not say that we're hurt, to not show women any kind of weakness. So any women would have been there would have been more of a diversion, and then men wouldn't have been being open to being themselves. And part of the unfortunateness about men's health is that men don't talk about it. Men don't even want to admit it, that they are hurting or they need help or they may have this disease or that disease. So anything that makes it easier for men to talk is really recommended. That's why a men's only forum was an excellent idea, because men were able to break down their barriers and talk truth. And then we saw other men which had gone through it, men like ourselves. They were black men and elderly black men and healthy black men, and they were able to take away the mask, and we really got some deep conscious movement around.
Well,
So
that's good.
yeah, I was gonna say, I know before I left, it seems to be there was a spread of age group, meaning there were some millennials, some 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, and then of course there was up to Deacon Palmer there, who was in his 80s, I believe.
Right.
So I
it's
like
full circle
yeah,
from
like a
different
multi-generational
generation.
type thing.
Well, that's good. That's the best type of form to
Right.
have.
And I think they were sharing their testimonies. I know Bishop started off by sharing his testimony. That was before I could get out the room fast enough. And then, but I know that, you know, from feedback from the men afterwards, that they were able to share testimonies, which I think allowed other people to open up and share their testimonies too.
Yes, it was, and men were making plans for having follow-up summits and follow-up
Oh, I am
meetings.
really liking
Yes,
that.
yes.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, we got a chance to build a foundation for a framework for the continued exposure of men, elderly men, black men, toward being more health conscious.
Did you guys bring up mental health there too?
Yes, yes, we had a doctor there from the Navy who was specialized in mental health and mental health situations. And one thing that was brought out was the fact that so many more men have some type of mental health condition, maybe bipolarism or anything, and depression, and we don't talk about it. What men like to do, well, let's go get a drink. And they medicate their feelings as opposed to, hey, let's talk about this stuff.
So I have a question for you, and hopefully you can, give our audience your opinion. Why do you think that it's so hard for black men to go to the doctor or seek any medical attention? What holds them back?
Okay, first of all, many black men, so the fact that they're not covered is a big problem in our black community.
Well, let me just ask you, let me interrupt you for just a second. Even with Obamacare, they still lack insurance?
Even with Obamacare, unfortunately, that men don't take the time to read and get involved with these things. So even with they making Obamacare available to anyone, men still have to get that nudge to go and join something and for their own health. See, right now, for many men, health is not on their priority list. You know, getting a new car or vacation or something else, building a deck might be on their vacation list, but not health, unfortunately, and health is so important.
Wow, because that's thank you for that, because that's quite interesting for our audience and for me as well, trying to understand the mentality of the black men in the community on why they don't make their health priority, or and our black men, they die at such a young age. I mean, at a very, very young age, and especially compared to our white counterparts.
And you know what, I'll just say this, and it saddens me to say this, but we just had the men's health event 2 weeks ago, a little over 2 weeks ago. The DJ that DJ'd the event passed away yesterday, 2 days ago. And I don't know how old he was, but he was in his late 30s or early 40s.
What's his
I don't
name?
even know. Danny Williams.
I know who Danny Williams is.
So he passed away, and that was shocking to me.
I saw that.
And he's the one that DJ'd the event, the men's event. So it's really, I don't know the reason why, but
I read. I didn't know him personally, but I knew him from different events and DJing and being around in the community.
Right.
But that saddened me because I know that he is young. He's a young man. He couldn't be no more. He has to be in his 50s.
I don't even think he's that old, to be honest with you.
Really? So you think that he's in his 40s?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll find out, but I don't think so. So it's sad, and at any age, to be honest with you, he was young. So at any age, I'm not sure if whatever happened was preventable, but all we can do is keep the family in prayer behind that sudden death, because it definitely was sudden.
Yeah, it was. It is very, very shocking.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why we're speaking about men's health, because it's such a focus. We've lost some pillars in the community recently. Even Pastor Ricky passed away about a month ago from massive heart attack. I think he was in his early 60s, and Ragsdale passed away a few months ago.
Yes.
And so,
and wasn't that the son of Mr. Ragsdale that passed?
I believe so.
Yeah.
The nephew.
And it was a nephew or the son?
I'm not sure. I know it's one of the Ragsdale.
Right.
But
he was young.
Yeah. So I consider young in their 60s, and I believe he was in his 60s.
Well, unfortunately, men know more about their cars than they do about their health.
Wow.
They could tell you how to fix any part of their car, but they don't know what's going on with their own body, because we are afraid to talk about it. We're afraid to hear bad news. We stick our heads in the ground. Well, if I don't know about it, it won't happen to me. And unfortunately, too many men still believe that.
And also, do you think, Michael, in your opinion, like when women are discussing, health issues with men, I think that, do you think that they kind of shun the woman, kind of like block her out um, when it comes to speaking on health? Because is it just because of the macho-ness, or, what is it? I lost my dad at a young age, but his was unexpectedly, he died unexpectedly as well at 65, and I feel like 65 is young, and that, he could have had, another 10 to 15 more years, or 20 possibly, and, what he had, it came all of a sudden, and, couldn't be prevented. But I feel like overall, my dad, he did kind of listen to me. Sometimes he didn't. Sometimes, he'd just shun me off, oh, when you don't know nothing, And so is it, the woman, we're not trying to dominate the man, but we would like them to listen, because we do our research. And not saying that we know more, but we are more knowledgeable, I feel, in a lot of aspects when it comes to the health.
Well, it's interesting that a lot of black men, when it comes to health, is like the woman, they need to stay in their place. Now,
Wow.
I don't know, this is a man's thing. But the thing is, these women want their men to stay alive, so that they can be with them. They don't want to be burying this man, before, and they outlive him for 20, 30 more years, because he died early. And so it's with the women's vested interest that they talk to their men. But unfortunately, a lot of black men are very stubborn and bullheaded, and they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it from a woman. They don't want to hear it from a doctor. Who will they want to talk to?
No. So that's
they
what
don't talk to other men.
I know. So it's like, I'm so glad that you guys had the Men's Health Summit, and hopefully this can open the door for future health summits, and this can happen on a regular basis, them being openly talking about their health issues with other black men. But tell us, why do you think mental health has such a negative stigma associated in the African American community?
Okay, I read an article this morning when I was coming here. They were talking about how 25% of all the black men in California are incarcerated. And out of that group, 3/4 of them have mental issues. So we have a problem. If they categorize those just who are in prison, in jail with mental issues, how many black men are out there with mental issues? Many of them. But there's a stigma attached to, oh, you crazy, and we've grown up with that. We don't want to be labeled as crazy or different, so we shun away from getting the help that we most desperately need. We would rather drown ourselves in alcohol or drugs, as opposed to dealing with the real issues, which comes from mental health.
So do you feel like, well, I feel like mental health is plaguing our black men at a very, very alarming number, whether we realize it or not. And black men, to me, is at the forefront. Black women have a whole lot of mental illness as well, but men, I think that it's a little higher than the black woman. They Because do you think that because they keep everything inside?
Well, we men have been taught since they were little to not say anything about hurting in any way, physical or mentally. So they've built up a resistance, and they keep so much inside to where when they either explode, do something crazy, or they get ill because the stuff is eating away at them. And they have no reason, they have no kind of recourse because they're not used to going to get help, mental help. So they're solving it by acting out in the family or acting out in the world, acting out on the job, or just killing themselves.
Wow.
So obviously that's a huge problem in society in general, just mental health. And I know from my patients in the past that they won't come in saying what's going on in their life. They'll come in with a physical complaint, but when I dive down into the story, it's really something that's a mental issue or a situation that's causing their stress or their depression. So usually they're not going to come in saying, hey, I'm depressed, could you help me? I want to talk about X, Y, and Z. They're not going to do that, and we probably haven't trained them on how to do that comfortably. But I do know that if they come in with consistent headaches or neck pain or something related to that, or stomach pains, and you really dive down into it, it's happening at a certain time when there's certain things going on. And when you think about it, it's a stress, whether it's household stress or domestic violence or depression, anxiety, and I have to peel out the layers, the onion layers, to get down to really what the problem is.
But
and then I say,
core,
yeah, you're suffering from anxiety.
Yeah.
And let's figure out, and then you have to dive back into their past and realize that they've been living with this for a very long time. And so, yeah, they self-medicate, they push it down and oppress those feelings, but at some point it comes out. And it comes out in their physical health. It does come out in their self-medication in terms of picking their drug of choice, whatever that is. And it's unfortunate. We really need to in this society now, because the mental health is across the board, including our teenagers, our young adults that are choosing suicide over trying to discuss things. That we're going to have to make this a priority to discuss in our communities, in our families, so that we can get the help that we need and understand that it's as serious, if not more serious, than their physical health. Their chronic diseases.
Right. I had my significant other had a family member, he's young. He was a young, teenager, 16, commit suicide.
Wow.
And I mean, and no one knew anything on why.
Right. Could they see signs? Did they notice signs
I don't
of
know.
him withdrawing at school or acting out or do anything that would show, like, hey, something's not right with him. Let's ask him. They probably didn't notice.
I don't know. But it was very, very sad. He was a handsome young man, and it was just really.
Probably with huge potential too.
Oh yeah.
At 16, he had his whole life ahead.
Yeah,
of him.
and that's why I really tried to, talk to my son.
Right.
Try to get to the heart and core of, just being open and allow him to be free, freely to express his feelings.
Yeah.
And because I think that's a lot of our African American community as to where our parents is, they didn't allow us to speak freely. It's do as I tell you to do. Don't question me because I said so. Don't, who the mama? Don't question me.
Right.
And you couldn't express how. And I was just a rebel. My parents just had to accept me because I was that child. I didn't care if I got popped in the mouth.
Or beaten to a pulp.
Or if I was going to get a whooping or whatever. I always expressed myself. And it just got to the point where they just was that's her.
Yeah.
That's who she is. She's going to tell you how she feel. You know.
And had you had a platform before that, maybe you wouldn't have created
I
that
probably wouldn't have
personality.
been acting up.
Yeah.
You know, but I wasn't scared of nobody.
Yeah.
I wasn't scared of the teacher, the principal. And I think that finally my mom was just like, you know, she got, you know, she was like, hey, this is who she is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to have to accept it, whether I like it or not.
Embrace it.
And embrace it. And then when she did start embracing it, our relationship was a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So with that, why don't we do this? Why don't we take an opportunity to have you share with the audience and us what your health challenges are and what you're actually doing about them now.
Okay. Health challenge. I am diabetic. I have high cholesterol. I have high blood pressure. I have arthritis in both knees. I've had a stroke before. I've had 2 stents in my arteries, and I'm overweight.
Wow.
That's a short list. Maybe we should have gone with what don't you have. That would be a shorter list. So you have all the chronic medical conditions that we as family physicians have to deal with and have to manage, which is a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So we always have you, you know, give you some recommendations on things that you need to do to help take care of your chronic medical conditions. Obviously that requires a slew of medications, but we do recommend lifestyle changes, which includes exercise and eating properly, making better choices with your meals. So what types of things are you trying to do to manage your weight and control your chronic conditions?
Okay, my first priority is nutritional. It's very important that I had to change how I ate and what I ate and when I ate it. Okay, so I had to revamp my nutrition to be more healthy, contain more greens, vegetables, legumes, and lean protein. Okay, so your diet is so important.
Yes, it is.
Next thing I had to do was I learned all of my medications, what they were for, and what were the side effects. So I studied my medications, and I make sure and take all my meds. Okay, and then I have a daily routine. I make sure that I eat onions, garlic, mint, and ginseng. I consume those 4 things in my diet at some point in every day, and also I drink my beet, celery, and carrot juice.
Okay, so I noticed you mentioned garlic. So garlic, what is that supposed to?
Well, I'm not a doctor, and we have.
Well, we got one
but
here.
yeah,
but why do you take it?
Oh, okay. It helps me with my digestion, and it helps clean away the bacteria from inside. That's why I personally take it.
And why do you take beets?
Beets provide me with iron. My combination of beets, celery, and carrot, I've been doing that for 3 years, and I have not gotten one cold in that time. I always would get colds in my life. In a certain two periods of in a year, I would get cold and sick. I have not gotten that since 3 years ago, since I started drinking that combination.
Well, I understand that beets is supposed to be good for the circulation. Is that true, sis?
I'm looking at you like I'm watching him with his antics on because he was passionate about his juice.
Yeah, he
really got into it.
Well, you know
definitely
what?
have my beets and my
Well,
stuff.
the thing of it is, he is very, very excited and passionate about his regimen because he's seeing that the results of it,
exactly.
of not being able, he
not
hasn't
having
been
the
sick.
colds twice a year.
I need to maybe get that because I'm always, I don't think, my immune system just messed up, so.
But I mean, it does help with circulation. But I mean, there's so many nutritional benefits to eating as natural and as raw as possible. So rather than processing our foods, it's better to have your veggies and your fruits and things and try not to process them, do things with them, but eat them raw or grilled or sauteed or something like that, and not adding a whole lot to it, so you can still get the nutritional value what's in it. So when it comes out the ground or off the tree, we don't need to do a bunch of stuff with it to not only strip it of its nutrients, but then actually add fat and stuff to it. So
Right.
we shouldn't be doing that. And then sticking to, plant-based diet is good with occasional, you can get protein from those things and from beans and legumes and things like that. And minimizing the amount of animal in your diet, because
Right.
the animal increases the cholesterol, which of course affects, things that causes cholesterol to go up and arteries to get clogged, and that's how strokes and heart attacks can occur. So those are some of the things that I usually recommend. And then of course regular exercise as much as you can daily if you can get it in, but at least 5 days a week, 30 minutes at a minimum, and that can actually be broken down into
So-
3 10-minute sections,
30 minutes a day,
5 days a week.
5 days a week
Right.
will have a significant and positive impact on your life.
Yes. Yeah, and eating properly,
And
making
eating properly.
making good choices, and having a different relationship with your food. I live to eat. Okay, that's what some people say. Okay, that they just can't wait to get their next meal and whatever. My thing is I eat to live. Okay?
Right.
I eat because I need it. That's the fuel in my tank.
Right.
But most people's relationship with food is they live to eat. They
Right.
can't wait till the next meal comes. They can't wait to have the things that they shouldn't have. And that's not a good relationship to have with food. And it will definitely cause you consequences of, extra weight that you don't need, which of course causes problems with joints and fat around the major organs and things like that. So you do need to be careful with that. But yeah, have a different relationship with your food. Don't use that as another addiction.
Right, and then not only that, but I'm learning so much about not drinking, milk, eating dairy products, because we can get our protein elsewhere, our calcium elsewhere. And so that's why I'm just kind of like staying, I'll stay clear. I'll be like, no, I'm sorry, I can't have it. Well, you know what? I never really been a big beef eater, and I haven't had, well, before I even was diagnosed with breast cancer, I didn't eat pork, and I rarely ate beef. So that was nothing.
Right.
I'm still having a problem. I'm trying to stay away from chicken, and just eat, my salmon. That's it. And then I do like that one white fish.
Buffalo?
No.
fish.
Sal, is it Sally? What is it, Sal? Sally?
I'm not sure.
Not cod.
Start with a C. I mean, a S.
I have no idea what you're
I have to tell you. I have to. I have to.
It's a white fish?
It's a white fish, and so I'm just, my problem is lemon cake.
I knew sweet was coming up.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, and when your friend makes it for you, we know who that is,
Right, and she just made me one last week, and I ate the whole thing.
Yeah, but then she made you one like a few weeks ago for your birthday. And you ate 3/4 of it.
Yes.
You gave a little bit to the guy at the restaurant. You gave a little bit to me, and then you had and it was a whole dish of sheet cake. If y'all can believe this, she's like a sheet cake by herself. She won't even share with anybody.
Right.
That's a shame. So
I
that is
know.
her addiction, her drug of choice.
Oh, that is, and I love the lemon cake, but I have to do better myself, Michael. So don't feel bad. It's basically I lose focus, but I have to get back on track. So it's okay when you know what you're doing and you can admit what you're doing is not right, not healthy, and you got to get back on schedule and back on track.
Well, while we were talking about nutrition, I wanted to bring up about empty calories. We need to avoid empty calories. Now, they say a woman needs between 1,500 and 2,000 a day. A man needs 2,500 a day. But empty calories don't have any vitamins or any minerals, and they're just a waste. They're just a waste of time.
In other words, you just put those extra calories on your waistline.
Right.
So examples of empty calories are your lemon cake.
Oh yeah, they done came right here on my
Yeah.
love handles.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then you
I
got-
gotta get back tight. Okay.
and it provides no nutritional value, just satisfaction to your taste buds.
Yeah.
And the other thing is things like juices and sodas and things like that.
Well, I don't drink. I don't
So
drink
those types of
soda. I
things.
don't drink soda. I mainly just drink water.
Yeah.
I mean, I really, I haven't had no desire. I haven't had any soda.
We just have to we have to send you to Lemon Cakes Anonymous.
I know.
So that you can
That's
for
what
that
that's what
habit.
that's what I need, sis. I'm serious.
So I just want to make a quick announcement about health issues, and for the audience sake, and then we probably need to tie it up soon because I know we have a few things we have to cover. So nearly 75% of all deaths in the United States of America is caused by 10 things. Okay, the top three makes up 50% of the deaths in the United States, and the top three are: number one, heart disease, which includes risk factors like diabetes, cholesterol, hypertension, things like that, and obesity. Those things put you at risk for it. That's 25% of all deaths. 1 out of 4 deaths are caused from heart disease. The second one is cancer. And believe it or not, the number one cancer is lung cancer. People think it's breast cancer, but it's not.
It's lung.
Lung cancer is the number one for both men and women.
Yes.
And then the second cancer death is prostate and for men, and breast cancer for women. And the third one is colon cancer. And that we can't prevent those cancers except for lung usually, but not everyone that gets lung cancer is a smoker or a secondhand smoker.
I'm actually really come across women and men for that fact, for that matter, that never smoked, have lung cancer. But they said that secondhand smoke, inhaling that is
just as dangerous.
Yes.
But even people that are not around smoke per se, didn't grow up in a household with smoke, and no one in our family smoked.
Right.
You can still get lung cancer.
Right.
For whatever reason, but so lung cancer is number one for both men and women in terms of cancer deaths, and then and that's even prostate cancer for men is increased risk with tobacco. Right. So believe it or not, it affects other things. And then colon cancer. And then the third leading cause is COPD, lung diseases, things like that. So number 1 out of 4 deaths is related to heart disease. And those things are preventable. So we really have to focus on controlling the chronic medical conditions that lead to heart disease. Because we can prevent some of these strokes and heart attacks and the deaths from heart disease. So I just want the audience to know that if you've got chronic medical conditions, you need to get them under control. And for the ones that don't have it, prevent it from happening so we can at least save some of our community from dying from things that are preventable.
Exactly. And it's just basically a lifestyle change. And once you make that lifestyle change, you're going to even go back to those bad habits.
Right. So I think before we wrap up this piece, just one quick, if you have any final recommendations for our audience in terms of just general health, men's health, whatever you have, and then we're going to dive into something else after that.
Okay, fine. I guess I could wrap it up just by encouraging men, just like myself, to take more of an interest in your body, take more of an interest in your nutrition, your exercise. If you want to be around to see your children and grandchildren grow up and everything, you have to be more aware of your lifestyle and your health.
Thank you for that. We appreciate that.
Yeah,
and what we're going to do is, sis, why don't you go ahead and take a couple minutes to tell the audience about you as a co-author and the book that's coming out.
Yeah, so you guys, the audience, I am the co-author with Kim Coles, Open Your Gifts 2, Volume 2. And this is the first volume, and so we're going to be pre-launching the book sale on July 5th. And in order to purchase the book, so who's listening? I need for you to buy my book. And the way that you can purchase my book is going to my website, manyshadesofpink1.com. And the first book is pretty small, but the second book, we have like 45 authors. And it's focusing on, like a self-help book, actually. Open Your Gifts 2 is basically things that you have endured in life. Basically, you've been through a whole lot of things, but what you don't really understand is that's your gift. That is your purpose in life, whether you know it or not. So sometimes God has a way of aligning us and putting us in situations, and we really don't understand why. But if you tap down deep into it, it's your gift that He has blessed you with. So mine is, my gifts is triumph. And my chapter is basically, it discussed, it's shattered into purpose. And I experienced so much tragedy, but I didn't dwell on the tragedy that I had. And when I say tragedy, a lot of tragedy, but I'm still here today. I'm smiling. I don't have a bitter bone in my body. All I want to do is continue to help others. So I'm not going to tell you guys, give you too much, because I want you guys to purchase the book and support me, because not only while you're supporting me, but it actually will help you as well. And my second thing that I want to speak about is, yesterday I was discriminated against at Vista Palm Car Wash on Broadway in Chula Vista. I took my car there, one of my cars there a few weeks ago, and I spent, $55 on a hand wash, and, and that's pretty expensive. So when I asked the worker, they have gotten my air freshener, and they didn't really vacuum the back of end of my car. And so the worker, of course, could not speak English, which that is perfectly fine. I do not have a problem with him not speaking English. So I asked him if he could go and have a manager or someone else to translate, because what I was asking him to do, I'm quite sure he would have done it if he had understood me. However, the manager came. I told him that, he didn't put my air freshener in, or they didn't vacuum the back, in the back floor of my vehicle. And so the manager went back and forth with me, and finally I just said, forget it. It's not even worth me, going back and forth. So yesterday I went, and they refused me service. They had me logged in the computer and refused service to me because they said that I complained. So I was very, very professional. I didn't get upset, because I feel like this. As Mexican Americans, African Americans, they fight hard. They're on the front line every single day, making sure that not only African Americans have equality, but making sure that you all have equality too. So for you as a Mexican American business to refuse, actually I was discriminated against. And that's what it was. I was discriminated against, not only being African American, but as a woman. And for you to refuse services to me, just because I'm asking for something that I paid for, and I did not get that. So African American people, listen up. Do not patronize Vista Palm Car Wash on Broadway. I don't care how well they detail your car. Basically, they need to be sent a message that if you want to be here, you need to basically treat African Americans with the same respect as you do for your own kind. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, amen to that.
Okay.
I don't have to worry about me patronizing. That's too far to drive to get my car washed. But anyway, we better dive real quickly into the 2 announcements before the show ends. So you want to talk a little bit about
join us for our next event. It will be on July 18th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. There will be several organizations presenting and offering free services to the entire community. Please come out and take advantage of this free services that we provide every single month, every third Wednesday of each month. And the free services, it's very extensive, from blood pressure check, blood sugar, breast health education, HIV. Actually, next month we will have the mammogram mobile. They're available, offering free mammograms.
Okay. All right. And quickly, I just want to mention an event that's taking place downtown next Thursday. It's called Heart to Art. It is a free event put on by the Urban Beats Youth of San Diego community. They will be showing us some art and how they use art to destigmatize mental health. The event is next Thursday, July 5th from 5:30 to 8. It's going to be at the beautiful San Diego Central Library downtown on 330 Park Boulevard. It's on the 9th floor. We get to see the whole, of San Diego on that floor, which is great. They donated that. So the youth are going to have an open dialogue about mental health, their stories, their self-expression through their arts. And so please come out and support them. This TAY transitional age youth is between 16 and 25. Some of them are homeless, some are from foster homes, but they really have an opportunity to express themselves, and we want to come out. It's a free event. There's free food. There's going to be a DJ, some arts performance, visual art, also haircuts and nail painting at certain stations, and resources. So please come out. And with that, we need to end.
Wait, that's our show. You've been listening to Many Shades of Pink and Black Health Radio program on KBOKradio.com. I'm your host, Wendy Sherrill, breast cancer survivor and advocate.
And I'm Dr. Suzanne Afflalo, your co-host. And thank you, Michael Afflalo, for coming in today
Thank you.
and sharing your story.
Thank you, audience. Have a great week.